early in the book, you talk about the importance of recognizing that our experience in this world is of a kind of an unnatural state, even though we can often call our normal experience natural because it's the only thing that we've known. And that this is the case, too, with regard to chastity, with regard to the integrity of soul and body. And is it does this imply that it's very helpful for us to frequently meditate on what things would have been like, insofar as we can understand this, in the Garden of Eden before the fall, but also in redeemed humanity in the heavenly kingdom? Do you see those as very useful things in understanding chastity, understanding the trajectory we should be headed on, as well as motivating ourselves?
I think it's important simply to understand ourselves as human beings, and we have a tremendous wealth of Christian reflection precisely on the original vocation of man. We have, particularly in the West, become so focused and so fixed on the moment and the event of the fall, and of the introduction into human history of original sin, that we have tended to forget or suppress or fade out the state of grace and gloriousness that preceded it. Here, the fathers were much, much more nuanced, and we find tremendous reflections on this in Athanasius, in Ephraim the Syrian, in the Cappadocian Fathers, notably in Gregory of Nyssa, and in many, 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 many others. And when I say that life in this world is unnatural, what I mean is this. I take it for granted that I will need to eat something every day, otherwise I shall feel very hungry. I need to sleep. I'm susceptible to pain. I'm conscious, the older I get, that my body is weak. I know that my life is a trajectory that goes towards certain death. We shall be reminded of that on Ash Wednesday, just in a couple of days. You remember you are dust, and to dust you shall return. And to live within that sort of knowledge of the needs, the fragility of the body, of the certainty of death, is what I think of as natural, because that is what life is like in this world. And it's the only sort of human life of which I have any kind of empirical knowledge. But in a perspective of faith, that is an unnatural state of being, because human nature was created in the beginning for immortality, and through the saving events of Christ, human nature has had immortality restored to it. The state of being conditioned by passions and pains is, yes, a state of being which is inevitable and intrinsic to human experience in this world, but it is not an adequate pointer to the reality of human nature as such, which will only be revealed in eternity. And that's the sort of thing I'm pointing towards, so that, yes, it is important to look both back and to look forward, and to remember the fact that St. Paul expands again and again in his letters, so full of mystical teachings, that we are now, in our state of living in this world, being prepared for a great transformation, which is a great mystery, and that we are, as it were, in a novitiate for a kind of life, a state of life that is not in contradiction to life here and now, but which will fulfill and realize what we can now only dimly perceive as in a mirror, to use the Pauline phrase, and a sort of a slightly contorted mirror image.